Now that the Super Bowl is over, the Miami Dolphins offseason can begin. What is up, Finn fans? Super Bowl's over. Kansas City Chiefs. Good on you. Good game by you guys. Nice win. Very nice win. This was a Super Bowl that was very good, very entertaining, and I actually enjoyed it. I was rooting for the Chiefs. If you guys didn't know from my Super Bowl picks video, I wanted the Chiefs to win for many reasons. But I was happy that the Chiefs won. Patrick Mahomes was just showing how good this kid is. He took some hits. He got touchdowns on his feet. Yes, he threw some costly interceptions and had that one fumble. But he showed that he could put a team on his back and he could do his thing. So really good game Super Bowl-wise. Good tip of the cap to Andy Reid getting his first Super Bowl win as a head coach. He does have a Super Bowl win as the offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. He has a ring there. But to the Chiefs, congratulations on your Super Bowl ring. I will just like to say that you got to give it to the Miami Dolphins for helping you guys get there, get that first round bye. But in this video, we're going to talk about, there's a little news before I jump into what the title is, which essentially is, we're going to do the position breakdown. We're up to wide receivers, next is tight ends, then offensive line, then we flip over to the defense. So, but real before that, I'm going to talk about the hype video that came out. If you guys don't know, yesterday a hype video came out. A lot of people are talking about it. I'm recording this on Monday. So, being that, we're going to get to a trivia. So, being that I'm recording this on Monday, let's get a real quick fact. On this date, 1945, Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Bob Griese was born. Happy birthday, Bob Griese. One of the great Miami Dolphin quarterbacks on there with Dan Marino. Let's get to the trivia. Now, the trivia for today, you watching this on a Tuesday. What team did the Dolphins beat 16-10 in Week 5 for their first home win in the 2017 season? So which team did the Dolphins beat 16-10 in Week 5 for their first home win of the 2017 season? Remember, 2017 season, we didn't have a bye. Just remember that, fellas. So I will get to the answer of that trivia question right before comment of the day, and this is a good comment of the day. But like I said, the Miami Dolphins came out with a hype video, and everyone's getting their little panties into twist because there's certain players that are highlighted in this hype video. There's certain players that are really shown in this hype video. I wrote their names down, and it's making people scratch their head like, does that say something bad for the other players? And blah, 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 like everyone wants to do around this time of the year. I will say this now. That's what I'll say. But if you guys haven't checked it, I'll link it below. It's also on my Twitter, so go follow me on Twitter. I retweeted the hype video, getting ready for this off season. But essentially, it really showcases preferably Devontae Parker, Nick Needham, Gesicki, Gottschall, and Wilkins. But it also does show Allen Hurns. It shows Preston Williams. It shows Durham Smythe. And it shows McCain pumping up the group before they go out. That's about it. Really talk about Flores and what they, him and Greer had planned, building the future and all that stuff. But those are the players that it really shows. Allen Hurns, Devontae Parker, Nick Needham, Gottschall, Wilkins, Preston Williams, Gesicki, Smythe, and Bobby McCain. So everyone's like, well, what about Baker? And what about, all these other guys? I don't think it's that crazy. I don't think these guys are going to be gone, but with this team, you never know. You never know. But that's the whole thing about that. Let's jump into what this video is all about. Let's jump into the meat of the matter. The Miami Dolphins wide receiver position breakdown. So again, I'm not going to talk about who I want, who I'm going to cut, who I'm going to sign, draft, all that stuff. I'm not talking about wants. I'm just breaking it down, seeing where we started, where we ended, the players that are on the team, contracts, all that stuff. So let's jump into it. When the season started, the Miami Dolphins starting wide receivers were Devontae Parker with Albert Wilson and Jakeem Grant with Preston Williams and Allen Hurns backing them up. Preston Williams was actually in both exterior wide receiver positions. And then when the season ended, Devontae Parker, Allen Hurns, Albert Wilson, Isaiah Ford, Davis, and Mac Hollins. Davis and Mac Hollins were some guys that we picked up. Again, when it came towards the end of the season, last 5 weeks of the season, we just started poaching practice squad players. When it came to cornerback and wide receivers and offensive linemen, we were just like, come on, let's see what we got. See what you got at you. See what we got at you. But when it comes to this wide receiver core, three wide receivers got contract extensions. First, it was Jakeem Grant with the 4-year, $24 million contract extension in August. Then Allen Hurns got his contract extension, 2 years, $8 million, 3.27 guaranteed. And then finally, Devontae Parker got his contract extension, 4-year, $40 million, 21.5 guaranteed. Now, with Devontae Parker's, if you want the full breakdown and all that stuff, you can go back and watch my video where I broke down how the contract works, how there's an out, all that stuff. So go back, watch that video. Same with Jakeem Grant. Jakeem Grant, next year if they don't like what they see out of him, they can cut him. Only he's going to cost 1.8 million in dead cap money. Jakeem Grant is a very contract friendly contract. Team friendly contract friendly. What am I talking about? He's only about getting a 4 or 5 million a year. So it's a very team friendly, especially the position he plays, especially his productivity. He can make the defense, respect over the top, but he's been injured a lot. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the players. Now, Devontae Parker, I'll talk about him last. We all know about Devontae Parker. But then you have, Preston Williams, this guy undrafted. We got him. We brought him into the team. Did really, really well. Didn't break 100 yards receiving on the season, but he was getting close. Against the Jets, he had about 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was getting there. He was doing really well, and unfortunately, he tore his ACL. Like I said in my previous video, he's ahead of schedule. He's very, feeling good about his process and all that stuff. But Preston Williams was really coming on. Fun fact, when it came to signing him as an unrestricted, undrafted free agent, his choices, he said, was between the Green Bay Packers and the Miami Dolphins, and he chose the Miami Dolphins. And us Miami Dolphin fans are very happy about that. But yeah, so Preston Williams is really coming into his all, and I'm very excited. I am very excited to see what Preston Williams can do, especially opposite Devontae Parker. Then you have, like I said, Jakeem Grant, something in my eye. You have Jakeem Grant, who he just doesn't stay healthy enough, and he doesn't really produce that much. Even like in 2018, where he had that good game against the Raiders, and he had some good games. It's just, he's a speedy receiver, but you can kind of start to see that he doesn't have the physicality when it comes to the body type to last a full season. He's a small guy. Not saying I don't like him. Not saying I don't want him on the team, but he's a small guy. And when he does well, he does really well. Like that Patriots game where he jumped up Monday night, snatched that ball right out of the air. It was a beautiful thing to see, but he needs to stay on the field. And then you have Albert Wilson. Albert Wilson started the season. You can still see the rust from the hip injury. But then last 5-6 games of the season, there came the Albert Wilson making the catches, breaking the tackles, doing his things. And Allen Hurns, he got his contract extension, like I said, 2-year, $8 million, 3.27 guarantee. It's not much. It's about $4 million a year contract, essentially 1 year show me contract. He started showing things. He started putting his body on the line, started making catches. Josh Rosen game against the Cowboys, he got a concussion because he put his body on the line, poorly thrown pass, put him in danger. This wide receiver core started coming into their all. And then you got Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker, 5th in receiving, tied for 4th in touchdowns. Finally showing what the man can do when he's healthy, and has, Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing the ball where it needs to be. He starts to show what he can do. Now, this wide receiver core, this is the way I see it, right? Do we need a wide receiver? Is wide receiver a need of this team? No, it's not a top need for me. I understand some of you guys are like, well, look what they did. Look. With Preston Williams coming back and Devontae Parker, and then potentially having somebody in the slot, whether it be Albert Wilson, Jakeem Grant, whoever that is, I'm comfortable with it. Now, am I saying they won't sign a free agent wide receiver? No. Am I saying they won't draft a wide receiver? No. Because what's funny? In the year that they draft Jarvis Landry in the 2nd round, the Dolphins didn't need a wide receiver. They did not need a wide receiver. Then they drafted Jarvis Landry. And I remember I was at my friend's house. And I was like, wow, the Dolphins drafted a wide receiver in the 2nd round. I didn't really think they needed a wide receiver. Look how that panned out. So to say that the Dolphins aren't going to draft a wide receiver, to say, oh, there's no way they're going to draft a wide receiver in the 1st round, never say never. Because if a Judy falls to the end of the 1st round, which they ain't happening, but if he falls to the end of the 1st round and the Dolphins are there, don't be surprised if the Dolphins are like, we could potentially have a top 10 talent right now at picks 26. And they might pull the trigger on that. So when it comes to the draft, there's a possibility. There's also a possibility of Henry Ruggs, a Jalen Roger. I think that's how you say his name. These small, could be slot, speedy wide receivers. They're around 6 foot, around 5'10". Could play the slot for the Dolphins because, you have Preston Williams, Devontae Parker on the outside. And then when it comes to free agency, like I said, never say never when it comes to signing a wide receiver. There's A.J. Green out there. There's Amari Cooper. There's, all these big name wide receivers out there that I don't see the Dolphins going for that, especially these tall, big wide receivers because they have that in Allen Hurns, Parker, and Preston Williams. So it's like, maybe you draft one in the 4th round, 3rd round, because it's like the draft for this wide receivers is actually really deep too. So you could probably get a good potential backup starting wide receiver 3rd, 4th round. But then when it comes to signing and cutting, you got to look at Albert Wilson. Now Albert Wilson is due $10.83 million this upcoming season, 2020. Is his productivity, is what he did in the last 5 games of the season worthy of that $10.83 million? But then after this 2020 season, that's it. He's a free agent. So that's where the Dolphins need to think like, all right, and us as fans, a lot of us want to, predict what the Dolphins are going to do and stuff. What are they going to do with Albert Wilson? Do we like what we saw? Do we think that he started coming into his own? He's getting healthy again? Because if they cut him, it's only a 1.83 dead cap hit. It's not a big dead. We saved $9 million. All of a sudden, I think the Miami Dolphins have the most cap space right now, around $98 million. We're number 1. So we start letting certain people go, like Albert Wilson. All of a sudden, we bump over. We're at about 98. We save about $9 million, about 107. It's a possibility. Now, like I said, I'm going to do a video where I cut players, explain why I'm cutting them, who I'm drafting. I'm doing mock drafts. Like I said, the season ended, so I might do a mock draft this week. But when it comes to the wide receiver core, I don't see it as a top need. Like I said, you never know. They could go out and grab a wide receiver. They can go out and grab a wide receiver 3rd, 2nd round. People are like, why? Well, you got 6 picks in the first 3 rounds. Why not? Why not go after them? Because you never know. You might get a stud. You might get another Jarvis Landry on your hand. But when it comes to free agency, I don't see them going top-notch. I see them maybe trying to bring in some bodies, some depth there. But be sure to comment below. Let me know what you think of the wide receiver core. Do you think that it's not a top need? Do you think, we can wait on wide receiver? It's not something we need to address right now. We have dire other needs. Be sure to comment below. But before I get to comment of the day, let me answer that trivia question. So what team did the Dolphins beat 16-10 in Week 5 for their first home win of the 2017 season? Again, it was the season the Dolphins didn't have a bye, so they literally started their season in Week 2. That would have to be the Tennessee Titans. Let me know if you got that right, especially in the premiere. Did you guys get it right? So let's get to comment of the day. This comment comes from Ghost, and Ghost says to me, I have a question for you. When you're talking to somebody and the conversation comes up, who is your favorite football team? And you answer Miami, as I do. They respond, oh, that sucks. They suck. How do you respond? I get a lot all the time. Being that it's literally tattooed on me, and if I'm wearing short sleeves and people look at my tattoos and then they notice I have the huge Miami Dolphins symbol on my forearm, they ask me, 1, why do I have it? I say it's for my father. 2, are you a Dolphins fan? Yes, I'm a diehard Dolphins fan. And then they say, why? You live in Jersey and they suck. I've been a Dolphins fan since 95. They didn't suck in 95. They didn't suck in the 90s. A lot of times when people say that to me, why are you a Dolphins fan? I give them a roundabout answer. If you guys ever want to know, go watch my 1,000 subscriber video, and I go into full detail on why I'm a Dolphins fan. But a lot of times, especially for a lot of you subscribers that I know live in Boston, a lot of you guys don't live in Florida. Like I don't live in Florida. We get that a lot. We live in the enemy territory. Like I said, a lot of you guys are in Boston. I'm in Jersey. Live in the enemy territory. I live 15, 20 minutes away from Jet Stadium. You get it a lot. A lot of times I ask them, though, who do you like? Like in the live stream, I think it was last weekend. Again, I'm going live this weekend. I've decided I'm going live every other weekend. I'll ask, someone's like, how can you root for such a sucky team? I ask them, well, what team do you like? Because then they can understand where I'm coming from. They can understand, especially if you're a Patriots fan. Oh, I'm a Patriots fan. Well, before 2001, your team was horrible. absolutely horrible for most of its career. You were the Detroit Lions before 2001. Yes, you went to a Super Bowl or two, but that was it. That was it. You sucked for a very long time. If you're a Detroit Lions fan, if you're a Cowboys fan, Cowboys haven't done crap in how long? That's what I say. So, like, fans know how we feel. So when people say, how do you root for your team sucks, it makes me laugh because every NFL team has been and gone through what the Dolphins are going through. Every team has a stint of time where they're just not good. And it happens, but the tides always change. That's why the NFL is the way the NFL is when it comes to cap space, when it comes to restrictions on certain things. It's not like baseball where you can go out and sign whoever you want. It keeps that rotation. It keeps that, okay, this team's bad for a few years. All of a sudden they start to crawl up. You know what I'm saying? Kansas City Chiefs weren't that great before Patrick Mahomes. They weren't that great before they had Alex Smith, if you guys remember. They weren't that great. There's a lot of teams now that are really good. That was Seattle Seahawks. They sucked. Absolutely sucked. I'm trying to think of the quarterback they had. Tavares Jackson. They weren't that great. A lot of teams weren't that great. And all of a sudden it starts to change. But there's some teams that, they always just have constantly good. Green Bay Packers, Steelers. Steelers had dipped down a little bit, but then they cruise. So that's my answer to you. I always ask them, what team do you like? And then I say, well, your team sucked for a certain period of time. Every team sucks for a certain period of time. But if you're the Buffalo Bills and you want to rag on the Dolphins, you have nothing to say. 4 straight Super Bowls and you could have won one. Got nothing to say. Same with the Jets. What have you done? What have you done? But thank you for the comment, Ghost. I hope I answered your question. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. Like I said, I tweeted out the hype video. I've been tweeting out a lot of things. I tweet out a lot. Also, like I said, I come in here, go to the community. So be sure to check out the community section here. It's on the homepage. It says community. And on your phone, it says community too. But be sure to check out my Twitter and the Bit Boys. Great gaming site. We're going to start doing some more things. We might focus more on Twitch. I'll let you know about that and where we're Twitch streaming. We're actually going to potentially start a podcast. So be sure to check that out. Other than that, give us a thumbs up. Guys, off-season's here. The Miami Dolphins off-season here. It's not even the NFL off-season anymore. It's the Miami Dolphins off-season. I got so very much planned for you guys. If you haven't noticed, this is different behind me. Looks a little bare right now. I got a new shelving unit right here. I got to put more stuff on this wall. I got to put more stuff on this section. I'm changing things up for 2020. I got so much planned for you guys when it comes to prospect videos. So very much. So give this video a thumbs up. Check out DolphinsTalk.com. A great Dolphin site I'm affiliated with. Also, hit that subscribe button right in the mouth and then pick it up and say, I'm sorry. And then hit it again. Like I said, I got a lot planned. Prospect videos, mock drafts, talking about free agency, who I'm going to cut, who am I going to sign. When training camp starts, you guys know, whoever's been with me for the past 2 years knows when training camp comes, I give you a play-by-play. No other Dolphin YouTuber was doing it before I started doing it. Give you guys the play-by-play. Now some people are doing it, but I was the first. I will, it might sound a little cocky, but I take a lot of pride in it because a lot of people were telling me, I don't want to listen to you talk for 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. Hey, you do if you're not down in training camp and you want to hear what's going on. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I think I'm going to do a mock draft soon, but I will be going live Saturday. Like I said, every other weekend I'm going to be going live, so I will be going live Saturday. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Next up is the tight ends. And like I said, I might start doing mock drafts. And be sure to let me know the prospects you want me to check out. But other than that, stay classy. Fins up.